going to talk a little bit about a parenting problem that was sent to me. And the problem was this. My problem is my inability to create boundaries for my children and my inabilities to stick to consequences. Inability to create boundaries and inability to stick to consequences. Does that sound like you? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome. I'm so happy to talk to you. So, if we're having trouble creating boundaries and then we're having trouble sticking to consequences, to me that sounds like you may be stuck between two ineffective parenting strategies: authoritarian and permissive. So in authoritarian parenting, the parent is making all the decisions. When there's a problem or conflict in the family, the parent is making all the decisions, has to solve all the problems, and pushes down all the solutions onto the child. And when there's a conflict and the parent it's always the parent solves the problem, it's the parent's way or the highway. What does that breed when the child has no voice in solving the problems or making any of the decisions? It breeds resentment, right? Because the parent is making all the decisions. Did anyone grow up with a family like that? I did. And I was pretty resentful. Then sometimes when we want to have a better relationship with our kids, we move towards permissive parenting. And it's kind of like swinging to the opposite side of that spectrum, where then we say, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to have a good relationship with my kids. And then we may have difficulty kind of holding boundaries and things like that. And then we're letting the kids decide, the solutions to any of those problems. And when the child is deciding all the solutions, then what happens with the parents? They feel resentful. So authoritarian and permissive are two sides of the same coin. They're both styles of parenting that are one party wins and one party loses. One party gets their needs met, one party doesn't necessarily. So it's this like win-lose method of resolving conflict that it leads to resentment on one side or the other. It doesn't work very well. And so what happens with a lot of us is that we say, I don't want to parent like my parents, I want to have a better relationship with our kids. So we kind of move towards this permissive side, but actually that's not very good for kids either, because kids of permissive parents end up, not only do the parents feel resentful, but kids of permissive parents end up feeling sometimes unloved because they don't have those healthy boundaries. So what do? In mindful parenting, I teach the mindful parenting method, and it's a strategy for walking the middle path where everybody gets their needs met. So the mindful parenting method, it goes by the CLEAR framework. That's an acronym for the method is CLEAR, and that C stands for calming our reactivity by habits that steady the heart, the mind, and the nervous system, understanding our triggers, self-compassion, and dealing with our difficult feelings, right? So that is that essential first work that we do in mindful parenting in the CLEAR method, in the mindful parenting method. Then we are practicing listening, mindful listening, practicing listening reflectively, creating connection. That's the L, listen. E, expressing yourself honestly and effectively. And honestly, this is like one of the most challenging parts. We practice it again and again inside the membership with each other, and we have accountability buddies who practice it with each other inside the membership. A stands for attend, being present, being really fully present. So not just like making a boundary because I feel like I have to make a boundary, but really being fully present to what's going on in that situation rather than in our autopilot thinking brain, and rather really being fully present there. And a lot of it all really comes down to that. And then the R in CLEAR is to resolve. And this is what we're really talking about when we're talking about the difference between those win-lose methods, permissive or authoritarian, in mindful parenting, in a more effective, logical middle path, We are instead resolving problems based on needs. So when we have a conflict of needs. You have a different need than I have. Your needs may be interfering with my needs. So how do we resolve that without going towards authoritarian or permissive? We look at what are the needs that are there. And we have a method inside mindful parenting to resolve conflicts based on needs, around understanding what are the needs. So what needs does your child have? What needs do you have? That's how we set a boundary. And when the child's behavior is interfering with your needs, that's when you need to set a boundary, right? So if my kids are like running around like crazy and I'm trying to, and it's really loud, and I have a need to concentrate on something, then that behavior is interfering with my needs. Okay, so that's the mindful parenting method. Clear. We calm, listen, express, attend, and resolve. So authoritarian and permissive, both of these are pretty ineffective. Don't go that route. If you want to have more information about and the exact steps that we use I have a free mindful parenting roadmap that you can get. And if you're interested in the membership, you can get on the wait list. That's at mindfulparentingcourse.com. But if you're interested in that free roadmap, I have a link to it in the appropriate places. So check that out. And I hope this has been helpful to you. And if it has, please let me know. That would be fabulous. Thank you. That would be great. And I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thanks so much for listening. Namaste.